This episode of the Capital G Show has been brought to you by the Titanfall lore. The critically acclaimed FPS that's good enough to cure cancer and make me buy an X-Bone is now in lore form. If you want to be entertained for 60 seconds, the link is in the description. What's up YouTube, Capital G here, talking about anti-spell fragrance in this video and why this card is about to be dope as hell really soon. Now for all intents and purposes, I didn't come to this conclusion myself. Full disclosure, I found this on Duelist Grounds, which is kind of odd because usually weird card interactions like this are generally found by like some random Asian guy. No, not that Asian guy. Well, sometimes that Asian guy. Anyways, we all know that pendulum summoning is about to become the new big thing in Yu-Gi-Oh! They start in the Duelist Advent, if I'm not mistaken. And if the mechanic is anything similar to what we got out of Synchro or Xyz summoning, then we can obviously expect it to have a huge impact on the game. I mean, those things just basically took over. Now that we know some more about the pendulum zones and how they work, there are going to be some certain cards that kind of go from meh to really fucking OP. I mean, first off, placing a monster in the pendulum zone counts as activating a spell. Thus, you can negate that action by playing something like Magic Jammer, which is just, that's so weird, right? Your opponent places a monster on the field and you're like, Magic Jammer, I'm stopping that. Like, that doesn't even feel right. We also know that pendulum monsters cannot be placed or they cannot be set in the pendulum zones, and I'm just going to call them P zones for the rest of the video because saying pendulum zones is just a lot to say. So most of you guys have probably caught my drift by now. Let's insert anti-spell fragrance. This is the card that says that both players must first set spells for an entire turn before they get a chance to activate them. So now your opponent has to set a pendulum monster in the P zone first before they wait. I think we already established earlier in the video you cannot do that. So essentially, anti-spell fragrance stops both players from being able to A, add pendulum monsters to the P zones, and B, pendulum summon itself. I don't know about you guys, but I think that's really fucking powerful. I mean, think about how big Synchro and Xyz summoning have been to the game, and now we just have a generic answer that works for the entire game that stops the pendulum summoning mechanic, and I honestly expect Konami to do something about this. I say this because when Synchro and Xyz summoning became really prevalent to the game, Konami did try and release some semi-decent countermeasures to this. I mean, they gave us things like Black Shiny C and Xyz Encore, but they never made a blanket card that just stopped those summons completely. And even if you draw counters to anti-spell fragrance, things like Twister or Mystical Space Typhoon, things that commonly are played in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh!, you can't even activate them the turn that you draw them because of anti-spell fragrance's effect. You have to set those cards, hope they go off without a hitch, get rid of fragrance, and even if you do kill fragrance, I mean, you still have to wait until your turn comes around to start putting your pendulum monsters in the P zone. So, you know, it wouldn't shock me if they did either like limit the card or make like a completely random errata to it so that it specifically designates that it won't work against pendulum monsters or, you know, the pendulum zone or something like that. Let me know what you guys think. I just think that it's interesting that, you know, a card released years and years ago just completely disrupts the entire mechanic of the pendulum summon. I mean, you know, you can't really equate this to things like Royal Oppression and Fossil Dyna because that just fucks up all special summoning. But yeah, this really does a number on it, and if they don't do something about this, those decks that are going to come out, those themes that are going to rely on pendulum summoning, I mean, I'm just going to be side decking 3 of these, and it's going to be like, oh, well, I drew my anti-spell fragrance. I guess you can't pendulum summon this game. Have fun trying to, you know, beat me without doing the mechanic that your deck is completely built around. I mean, that's like saying, hey Constellars, hey Evil Swarm, hey Evolzers, you know what, play me, but, you know, be nice. Don't exceed for the entire game. See how that works out for you. So I think it's going to be interesting. Tell me what you guys think. Is this just something where maybe we would have been better not knowing about this because it completely cracks the mechanic? Thank you guys for watching as always, and take care. Subscribing makes life happy.